have here is a Raleigh Roma scooter. Possibly one of the very, very few Raleigh Romas that's running in the country. I believe there could only be as few as 4 Raleigh Romas actually registered with the DVLA on the road. There'll be a few more about that's in bits or not running or whatever, but according to something I saw on the internet, there was only 4 actually registered. And I bought this about 6 months ago. It was quite poor condition. It had been stood, well, we're not sure really, but it had been stood in a cellar at a pub somewhere or other, and it had been there for about 50 years. It's a 1962, I think it's a 62. When I got it, it was complete, very rusty. The engine wasn't working, and the kickstart was broken, and wanted just generally restoring back to what it's like at the moment. New seat cover, new tyres, rebore, new piston, new little end, sorted the wiring out, new switch for the lights, all the lights work, new horn, new cables, repainted. Some of it's hand painted, some of it isn't. The inside there of the leg shields, that's hand painted, and the floor running boards are hand painted. Basically I wanted to get quite a bit of paint on because it was quite rusty, so I rubbed it down best I could and painted it a couple of times. So the floorboards were running boards were hand painted, but the rest of the tub round the back here, the chassis was hand painted underneath, but all the leg shields at the front, on the headlight, all the front end here, all that's spray painted. It's all done with 2-pack anyway, whether it was brushed or sprayed, it was done with 2-pack. A couple of modifications for reliability and just modernisation. There was no ignition switch with these, you just had a kill button, which is not great if you're going to leave it anywhere, not in today's environment. So it's fitted with a key switch, kill the engine, you can switch it off, and the fuel tap used to be under the seat in a really inaccessible position, and it was switched on and off by a long rod that came out here where this should be. And I modified that and I put a better switch, put a better fuel tap on there, so that's much better than it was before. You can get to it. If you saw me leaning over before when I was starting it, when it started and stopped, it's because the choke had come off, and it's a really strange thing. What I've got a hole in the side here, there's a little button inside. What you do is you push that little button down, you push the choke on, and when you rev it up, the choke comes off automatically. Once it's warm it starts straight away, but when it's cold it needs a little bit of warming up, and it just stopped and it wanted re-choking again. So I just leaned over, stuck my finger in there, pushed the choke down, and then when you kick it up, first time you rev it up, the choke flicks itself off, and if it's not quite ready for the choke coming off, it'll stop and you have to do it again. A bit of a novelty, that one. The seat hinges up, so it's a new seat cover. This is not the original fuel tank I've got in the other shed, which is very rusty inside. So I took a decision for a couple of reasons. Was the fuel tank was rusty. Now I could have cut it open and cleaned it and welded it all back, or I could have tried to clean it and put a chemical liner in, which I don't really like to do. But what I did have is this fuel tank in my shed, Now, you can see it under there. This is the fuel tank here. That's a brand new Honda GX 160 fuel tank off a proprietary engine, brand new. It incorporates its own filter, and you can't see it. It looks like it's part of the scooter, but I have the other one anyway. The other thing is on the original scooter, it has a push-in fuel plug here. It isn't a proper cap, and it's the poorest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's really pathetic, and I didn't like it, so I put the Honda fuel cap on. So this fuel tank is just like brand new. It has a built-in fuel filter as well, so that is much better than what it would be originally. Had some Raleigh Roma decals manufactured, and some new Raleigh Roma badges. These are like they're like aluminium, but what do they call it now? I've forgotten the term. It's almost like photographed on this. It's a permanent. It's not painted. It's not a decal. I've forgotten the term. what they use. What it's called. My daughter does them, and she's made me those two Raleigh Roma badges. New decal on there. These are the original Raleigh Roma badges. The only really thing that's not wrong with the scooter, but it's not perfect, is Speedo has little scratches in, little tiny scratches in there, and well, you can't get the parts. Really difficult to get hold of. Really difficult. I was very lucky to be able to get a new piston for it. The little end had gone, and the piston was badly damaged. I made a new little end for it, but it needed a new piston, so I had to buy a piston just to get what I could buy. The bore was okay, but I could only get, I think it's a plus 30 or a plus 40 piston, so I had no option but to rebore it to that size. That's it really. It's a lovely little scooter. It's 3-speed, obviously hand change. It's not a twist and go. It's this is a clutch, and then you change gear by twisting the grip back. It's a lovely little thing. The brake, the kickstart was broken, and I think what had happened was when it must have been the reason it was laid up was obviously it wouldn't start because the little end had gone, the piston was busted and the rings were broke, so it would never have started, or it would have been very difficult to start, and the kickstart was broken. So it looks like what's happened is it wouldn't start, and somebody's kicked the brains out until they'd broken the kickstart, and then it's been thrown on one side, and literally it was just, the whole thing was complete. Just as it is now. There was no seat cover on it. I don't know what happened to the original seat cover, but it had been, it must have just been, they broke the kickstart, they put it on side and left it. It was just as it is, as you see it now, with the seat cover missing. So the seat cover either rotted off or somebody took it off, I'm not sure. And then that was it. It was just this thing was complete. The back light there, that was missing. And this is a backlight of something else, I'm not sure what it is, but it fits really nice. Made that fit in there. But you can't get the parts. The parts are unobtainable. So I'm really pleased with it. So there it is, it's finished, it's done. I'm just looking for another project now, so it could be for sale if anybody's interested. But it's it needs putting in a museum, I think. It needs somebody with a collection, because it'd be a shame actually to put it back on the road and let it deteriorate, because there's so few of them about. I think it needs to be put in somebody who has a collection of scooters. So anyway, if anybody's interested, if you want to make me an offer on it, there it is, but if it doesn't sell, I'm not really bothered, it'll just stay in the shed. Okay, thank you, bye. Just wanted to add a little bit on. I didn't know anything about Raleigh Romas, I didn't even know Raleigh made a scooter. But it seems as though what happened was that Raleigh made these scooters or assembled them, nobody seems to know, but the scooter is a Bianchi Orsetto. They were made in Italy by Bianchi, or Bianchi, or you call it, and it's called a Bianchi Orsetto 70cc, and they were either assembled or manufactured under license in England by Raleigh and sold as a Raleigh Roma, but it's identical to a Bianchi Orsetto. They're quite rare. I don't know how many they sold, but they couldn't have sold that many of them. It's a lovely little thing, it goes really well. Okay, bye.